All right, welcome back to Bible Studies. Today we're going to be looking at question 11 from the Westminster Shorter Catechism, and it reads as follows. What are God's works of providence? Answer: God's works of providence are His most holy, wise, and powerful preserving and governing all His creatures and all their actions. Our first proof text is in Psalm 145, verse 17, and it reads, The Lord is righteous in all His ways and kind in all His deeds, talking about His holiness. And our next proof text is in Psalm 104 and verse 24, and reads, O Lord, how many are your works? In wisdom you have made them all. The earth is full of your possessions. And this is speaking of His wise actions in His creation, His wise governing and creating. It speaks of the wisdom. In wisdom you have made them all your works, all your creations. And our next proof text is in Hebrews 1, verse 3. And it is speaking on His power. And it reads, And He is the radiance of His glory and the exact representation of His nature, and upholds all things by the word of His power. When He had made purification of sins, He sat down at the right hand of the Majesty on high. This is speaking of Jesus, who is God in flesh. Now our next text is in Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 6. You alone are the Lord. You have made the heavens, the heaven of heavens, with all their hosts, the earth and all that is on it, the seas and all that is in them. You give life to all of them, and the heavenly host bows down before you. Speaking on His preserving of His creatures and creation. Not to mention His governing, which we'll look at next in Ephesians chapter 1, on verses 19 through 22. And it reads, and this is speaking on His governing specifically as a proof text. And what is the surpassing greatness of His power toward us who believe? These are in accordance with the working of the strength of His might, which He brought about in Christ when He raised Him from the dead and seated Him at His right hand in the heavenly places, far above all rule and authority and power and dominion and every name that is named, not only in this age, but also in the one to come. And He put all things in subjection under His feet, and gave Him as head over all things to the church. And this is how He governs His creation. And now we will look at how His providence works with our actions. And we will read Psalm 36 and verse 6. Your righteousness is like the mountains of God. Your judgments are like a great deep. O Lord, you preserve man and beast. So we are preserved through God's providence. What are God's works of providence? Answer: God's works of providence are His most holy, wise, and powerful preserving and governing of all His creatures and all their actions. God bless, and we will see you again next time, Lord willing.